This video brought to you by QuestMode. QuestMode is a way to earn free Twitch subscriptions as well as earn yourself cash prizes just by playing free mobile games. If you want to help participate in QuestMode, you can click the link down in the description. And don't forget, if you top our monthly leaderboard for the month of May, you will earn yourself a Nintendo Switch. Hello everybody, Incon here, coming at you with another episode of Smite Weekly. We had a bunch of things happen this week, including some fantasy point reimbursement with some season ticket issues. We had a huge crackdown on Toxicity in Smite, so let's get right into it. First up, guys, we had some fantasy point issues. For those of you that participated voting with your season ticket for the recent LAN, you will have noticed that a lot of games you could not vote on. They weren't updated in time, meaning that you couldn't vote for games that were after games that were earlier in the day. So if you had a third game that was dependent on the winners of the first two games, you could never vote on the third game because it was never updated in time. So we got an update from hi-rez Rev on Reddit, guys, talking about those problems. Basically, they said, you're right, we done goofed. If you have purchased either the spring or summer split FP pass for esports, you will be given for free one 500 fantasy point pack, guys. Now that means that if you own both the spring and the summer split, you do not get 1,000 free points. But basically, if you owned the spring or summer split ticket, you were able to vote on these games, or in this case, not vote on all of the games. This is they basically said, hey, we're sorry you couldn't get all your fantasy points. Have these fantasy points to make up for it. It's way more fantasy points than you would have earned from voting for those games and getting them all right anyway. So everybody in this situation wins, and hopefully in the future they can better optimize their ticket for these games. Speaking of esports, guys, we have, of course, the LAN finished up, which means we have a beautiful, giant graphic, guys, that goes through all sorts of in-depth information about the LAN. I will have the link for this as well as basically everything else that we cover today down in the description. It talks about the shortest game, what time it was, what the win rates were on order side, chaos side, what Gold Furies meant had impact on the game, first fire giants. I mean, this is a giant sheet. You can see how big this thing is. It just goes into the most detail, has every single stat, exactly how many kills teams have, how many deaths they had, what kind of KDAs they were running. I mean, literally just everything you could possibly want to know, any in-depth stat about the recent LAN, guys. And this will have everything for you from most pyromancer kills to most tower kills. I think it's a great read, guys. If you had any curiosity about how certain stats were impacting the game, you're like, oh, I want to know who killed the fire giant first and how that had a win rate game. Look at this. Win rate by first fire giant, 86% of the people that got the first fire giant won the game. So if you want to come look at any of these stats, that'll be right down for you in the description. Moving on, everybody, we had a patch this week, patch 5.8, Lord of Darkness. This was the Cherno Bog patch, guys. You can see some quick information here on all the changes in the patch. Who was buffed, what was nerfed, everything that happened, guys, the new god that came out. Also, to be noted, this patch was released to all platforms at the same time. You have to reminder that you do not have a standard patching schedule anymore. The patches are going to be released as they are ready to hopefully fix as many bugs as possible, meaning that they can also now get the Xbox scene, PlayStation scene, and PC scene all updated at the same time. Although, there are still some bugs going on, and I think we've got a great one for you guys here. So even though they took some extra time, guys, in order to get this patch out, to basically take some more time to try to make as many minimal bugs as they could possibly be, there were still some issues that got through, and I kind of want to show you one of my favorites. What? I can't. While we may have had patch 5.8 this week, guys, we also had patch notes 5.9 this week, guys. This is a reminder that the new patch notes schedule is Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern. That's a brand new patch notes time, guys. And on this note, you want to remember that because of the new schedule with the patches, guys, you're going to have possibly your patches and your patch notes during the same week. This is because they're not on a strict patch schedule anymore. For a long time we were on the 2-week patch schedule. Now they are strictly focusing on trying to make sure their content is as perfected as possible before it releases, which means that they may have these weeks where you're releasing new content and talking about the upcoming content right after you just had a patch, guys. So make sure you keep your eyes out for that. If you want to watch any of the patch notes content from this 5.9, guys, I will have a link in the description to my video covering those patch notes. In a bit of matchmaking news this week, guys, I sent out a tweet that was basically talking about how ranked matchmaking, in no world should a Grandmasters player ever be against a gold player, ever be with gold players. I had a couple matches this week, particularly on Sunday, where I was going against and playing with some very low-ranked players, which were basically leading to situations where I was farming somebody, my other teammates were getting farmed, and basically there was no fun to be had in this situation. So I sent out a tweet about it, and hi-rez Stu responded to me, and I wanted to bring this question to you guys and see what you feel about it. I talked about Smite and its matchmaking situation. Stu replies, if the best way to improve ranked matchmaking was to allow players to only join solo and ranked, would you take that trade? I said basically, heck yes, man. If you only can play solo and ranked, I think that'd be great. I think that that would be a better show of individual skill. You're not allowed to basically queue up with another pro and do a duo pro stomp on games. You're not allowed to do these crazy strong combos like you make sure you queue with your mid laner and your jungler every time and you can just win every game because you've got some important roles on your team. But I wanted to bring that question to you guys. Would you be more inclined or less inclined to play ranked if you could only solo queue? Would that make you more excited because you know you're never going to have to go against basically the Barra Jeff lane when they're on their queue times? Or does that make you less inclined to play ranked because you're like, well, I only want to play ranked if I can play with my friend? Or are you of the mindset to where you're like, hey, I mean, I can play casuals with my friends. If I want to play ranked, I want it to be the best matchmaking possible. And if that means that I can't queue with my friend, I'm okay with that. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments. Speaking of Stu, guys, in our biggest story of the week, by far the biggest thing Smite has done in a while regarding Toxicity. We saw Smite take action in banning temporarily or permanently over 2,000 Smite players across all of their platforms, guys. We saw a Reddit post made by hi-rez Stu regarding this subject, guys. He says over 20,000 players have been suspended or banned in Smite during Season 5 already. And they just took a giant mass ban action against over 2,000 Smite players to help reduce toxicity within Smite, guys. This action hit a bunch of people in Smite, and it definitely did not withhold any actions. We saw notable streamers like DM Brandon receiving a 3-day suspension, guys, because of toxicity. Also, for DM Brandon's part, we saw him send out a tweet that basically said, hey, I've been toxic over the past couple of days and weeks. I've been getting really angry, but if this is a step that hi-rez wants to take about reducing toxicity, I appreciate it. And he says, I will deal with my ban and hopefully come back into the game and everybody will be a little bit less toxic, knowing that they're taking toxicity more seriously. I, for one, think it's a great move. I think that them trying to reduce this toxicity is amazing. I think that them coming out and straight up saying, hey, 2,000 people got banned because y'all were being rude and not being nice people. I think that's a great thing. I think that it's going to make people more likely even to go play some game modes that perhaps people were being more toxic in. I can only imagine ranked is where the most toxicity was. People knowing that if people are being really extra toxic, you can report them, and that report's going to mean something. Means that people are going to be less toxic in ranked, which might incline more people to go play because they know they're not going to get yelled at just because they're kind of new to ranked. I think that's a great thing. Personally, I would love to know what you guys think about this. Was anybody hit by this ban? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think you deserve this ban? Where you're like, yeah, man, I was kind of being a doo-doo head. I think that I deserved a couple-day ban. Now that I know people are getting banned, does that have any impact on what game modes you're going to queue? I think that this is definitely the biggest thing that happened this week, so I would love for you guys to discuss it down in the comments. I'd love to see your opinions, and to be honest, I want to discuss this with you guys in the comments as well, so please let me know what you think about this. that's it for us this week's, guys, for Smite Weekly. If there was any stories that I missed this week that you wanted me to cover, please let me know down in the comments. If you want to upvote that comment, we can try to cover it next week. If there's anything you want me to talk more in depth about next week, please let me know, guys. We'll probably have a bunch of new stories coming next week. That's the whole reason why we made this series, is because there seems to be so much information coming out every single week around Smite and hi-rez for all these regarding esports and the game itself and patches and issues and all kinds of stuff. I just wanted to make sure there was a quick, concise way for you guys to get all that information and to get out your opinions and your thoughts. And so we had a way to just see how the community was feeling about everything all week, you know, without having to dedicate 24 hours a day to the Smite grind like I do. Most people don't have the time for that. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy this series as much as I do. And as always, have a twitching day, y'all. Thanks everybody for watching the video. If you want to watch more content, go ahead and click yourself down in the corner to watch another one of our videos. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can find that right up on there. And if you want to go ahead and buy some sweet merchandise, guys, you can click that right above my head. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, have a twitching day.